Dear friends, in this tutorial we are going to learn how to build a Jupyter notebook. Now this tutorial is for those who doesn't have any understanding on what is Jupyter notebook. I promise that by the end of this tutorial you will be able to build a notebook that looks like this. Okay, now let's first begin by understanding what is Jupyter notebook. A notebook is a web application that allows you to combine live code, visualizations, and explanatory text all in one place. I have this sample notebook here where you can see that I have a live code. By live code, I mean if I change my code here, for example, I want to change the color of this plot from red to green, and when I run this, I see that it is changing. So this is live, short of like idle or Python command prompt, where you change your code and you can see your result interactively. Second aspect of Jupyter notebook is visualization. So here I can see chart, a table, and a YouTube video link. All right. The third aspect is the explanatory text. So you can see the rich text here with different fonts and colors. This sort of looks like a web page, an HTML style rich text. Okay, so if you have all of these three combined in one place, then it's really awesome because you can share your research. Many times data scientists want to prove their point and they want to share the result with other people, and this is a great way for doing it. I have a separate video where I go into details of explaining what is Jupyter notebook, so you can go ahead and watch that first. Now, assuming that you know at least what is notebook, we are already set to build our first notebook. Okay, so the first step in building a notebook is to install it. So in order to install it, you can just go to Google and type in install Jupyter notebook and click on this link. Now here there are two ways of installing Jupyter notebook. One is by installing Anaconda. Jupyter is part of Anaconda, so once you install Anaconda you will automatically get it. Second way is to install it using pip, where you can just run pip install Jupyter. Installing Anaconda is highly recommended, so I would go ahead and install Anaconda and get some other goodies for free. I have a separate video on how to install Anaconda, so you can just follow that. And assuming that now you have followed all these steps and you have installed Anaconda, to launch Jupyter notebook, here is what you need to do. So you can go to your command prompt and just type in Jupyter notebook. Okay, now whenever you type this command, make sure so I have my working directory here, C code py, so it's gonna launch the Jupyter notebook from that working directory. All right, so whatever you save, you can save into that directory. So just run Jupyter notebook, and when you do that, it is going to launch the notebook. Okay, now in the notebook there are few things here. So first of all, you have this front end or a UI which is running in a web browser. Okay, the second part is your server. So here I have my server running. Okay, and when I do things like when I build a Jupyter notebook here, it's gonna communicate with this server. So let me go ahead and open the Jupyter architecture diagram. So I have this diagram here. So this is how it works. So your browser is basically here. So this is your front end for the notebook. Then you have notebook server, which is running here. Okay, when you type in Jupyter notebook. And what happens is every notebook server will have its kernel. So kernel is an entity which is running your code. Okay, so when in Jupyter notebook, when you type in different commands, it will send a JSON messages to notebook server, and notebook server will eventually use kernel to run your code and supply the output back to your browser. So now I'm going to create my first notebook. So you can go here, new, and click on this one. All right, Python. Now Jupyter supports many other programming languages. It's not just Python. We are in this tutorial covering only Python. Okay, our goal here is to build a notebook that will use Panda's Python module to retrieve the live stock price and plot it as a chart and also in terms of a table. And it will also have some explanatory text on what is stock, etc., for the people who don't know anything about stock. Okay, so I have this code snippet here, and just to save time, I'm just going to copy paste. So first of all, you have this particular cell here whose type is code. So if you go here, you have code and markdown and a couple of other types. So by default, your line is code here, and when you type your code here and when you click on this button, what it is going to do is it's gonna execute it. Okay, now it is giving some warning on deprecated uses of this library, so I'm not going to worry about it really. So I will execute it one more time, and here you will notice that it used Panda's library to pull Apple's stock price. And when I say df, which means data frame, Panda's data frame, and when I print df.head, it is printing the table. Now this is kind of nice because now I can see my live data interactively even when I'm in the middle of writing my code. Okay, here you will notice this ln2, 3, etc. So 2 means this is the second line that was executed. You will also see sometimes that little star. So if you notice here, you will see star. When it says star, it means it is executing that code. All right, so it's in middle of execution. That's what it means. Okay, now I have these stock prices displayed as a table, but I want to, let's say, draw a chart. So for that, what you will do is you will use data frames plot function. Okay, so you can use plot function and you can mention what you want to plot on your y-axis. So out of all these columns, I'm interested in plotting a closing price of stock every day on y-axis. And let's say for color, I want my chart to be in green color. Now, to run specific cell or specific line, you can either use this button or you can use Alt Enter shortcut. Okay, now it did not plot chart here because I need something called a line magic. So the line magic that I need to use here is matplotlib inline. So inline will plot the chart as soon as it is done executing this line. So again, execute it using this button or Alt Enter, and you will see that it has plotted the chart now. Now I will go in detail on what is this thing doing and what is line magic, but first let me cover this menu bar option. So here I have a couple of buttons. So for example, if I want to, let's say I have this extra cell, and if I want to remove it, you can use this option. So it will just remove the line. Okay. Also, if you want to, let's say, insert a cell above this line, then you can say insert cell above and below. Also here I have a keyboard shortcut. So I am looking for a shortcut for insert cell above, and you will see that you can use A or B as a shortcut to insert cell above. So I will type in A here. I had to be out of that. Now you see I typed in A and it inserted a cell here. And if I have this cell selected and if I type in B, it will insert the cell here. All right. Now let me see what is the command to cut the cell. So to cut the cell, you can press X key. So here I don't need this cell, so I will press X and it will get rid of it. So you can learn some of these shortcuts and it will increase your productivity. If you don't want to use shortcuts, then obviously you have these buttons. So this button right here is used to save your Jupyter notebook file. So now that we have some code, let's go ahead and save the file. So here I will say save. Now it's saved the file as untitled. So I can go here and click there to give a name to your file. So you can say Python pandas notebook. Okay. And it saved my notebook. Now let's go back to this particular line and understand what it is doing. So whenever you see thing like percentage and some text after it, it is usually a line magic or cell magic. Okay, so I'm going to insert some cell here and play with line magic. So the command that you need to run to see all the magic commands is %ls magic. Okay, again to execute it, hit Alt Enter, and you will see all the available magic commands that you have. You have line magics and you have cell magics. So let's look at some of them and see what they are doing exactly. Okay, so I'm interested in, for example, this %time magic. Now if you don't know what it is doing, then there is this command. There's a way where you can type in question mark and execute that, and it will show you the help on that particular magic. Okay, so here it is saying that it is being used to measure the performance of a Python statement execution. Okay, so for example, here if you say %print hello world, then it will tell you how much time print hello world takes to execute. Okay, so let's try this out. So I'm going to measure a performance of a for loop. So let's say I have this big for loop where I'm just doing some dummy operation. Okay, and when you run this, it will tell you that this for loop in total took 8.51 milliseconds. So this is pretty powerful. This can help you in identifying the bottleneck in your code. Okay, another magic command is %system. So %system will allow you to run any Unix command. So here if I say %system pwd, then it will show me my present working directory, which is this. Okay, you can also run ls to list down all the files. So these are the files that I have in my current working directory. Pretty much you can run any command using this. There is even a better way, like a shortcut of doing the same thing. So if you want to do the exactly same thing, then you can use exclamation mark followed by your command, and it will do the same thing. Right, same here, like pwd shows you present working directory. Okay, now second thing I want to do is in my data frame here, I have a volume on stock price also. Okay, so I want to plot this volume as a bar chart. Now matplotlib has a support for the bar chart, so I will use this particular cell. So let me remove this guy here and just use that to plot a bar chart. So you'll say your data frame dot plot dot bar, and you will mention your y-axis. Okay, so you can see that it plotted the bar chart for my volume data. Okay, now one thing you will notice here is this number. So this number is 13 here versus here is 10. So this shows the order of execution. So I executed this line first, so that was like order 10, then I executed something else which I removed, and then I executed this one. So 11, 10, 11, 12, 13 and so on. So if you ever wonder what these numbers means, then the answer is there. It shows the order of execution of your code. Okay, now for this tutorial, if I'm sharing this with someone who doesn't have any understanding on stock prices, then I want to explain that person what is stock. So for that, I prefer having a YouTube video link explaining what is stock. So for that, what I'll do is I will go to YouTube and type in what is stock basically. Okay, so here I see this particular video, so just open that video and just say share and embed. So this is an HTML line to embed that particular video link. Now I want to insert that above this, so you can click on insert cell above or using a shortcut and copy paste. All right, so let's run this. So now you can see the YouTube video link here, and you can run this link here, and this way when a person is looking at this notebook, he will play the video and he will gain understanding on what is stock. Next thing I want to do is I want to have some explanatory text to kind of explain the purpose of this tutorial. So again, I will go insert cell above, and this particular cell I will insert some explanatory text. So I will say this. I'm just copying pasting to save time. Okay, now this the type of this cell will be markdown. Okay, so now let me run this. Okay, so this is markdown cell, and you can use some of the markdown properties. For example, let's say I want to highlight or make this text bold. For that, you can use ***. When you do ***, it will make that bold. See that it is bold now. Also, when you say 1.2. This is showing it as a list. Okay, so if you want to look at more markdown properties, then you can go to help and look at markdown help here. So formatting index, for example, you can see that if you want to make something as a header, then you can use #sign like this. Okay, so I will just see how this guy looks. So I'm just going to copy. Okay, and then here, and then I will say double hash. Okay, so if you put double hash, then it will make it like a header text. If you, so these are like various levels. So if you have one hash, it's heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and so on. Okay, so just look at this help. It has some few other things such as italic. So if you want to make your text italic, you can just use star. So here, if I put this whole thing into star, you can see that it is now italic. So go through this help and look at all the markdown text to make your visualization or your explanatory text more appealing. Next thing I want to do is, since this is pandas tutorial, I want to put pandas logo here. So you will again insert a cell above this one, change the type to be markdown, and just Google pandas here and copy image address. Okay, so when you say copy image address, it is like this. So you have the PNG file. So I will go to here and just put a image tag. So I have image tag where the image location is whatever I copied from pandas website, and I have some styling on that, and I have again the same heading. Okay, so when you run this, so this particular thing is not needed now. Okay, so this is how it looks. And another important thing to notice is if you want to edit any cell, just double click on it. So when you double click on it, you will see a little pencil icon here. Also, you will see your cursor here. So that's when you can type it in. And when you execute using this cell or Alt Enter, it will show the final output. Okay, I have this extra cell which I can remove using this or X shortcut. Okay, excellent. So I have this pandas tutorial notebook ready. Now it has explanatory text, YouTube video link, and live code running. So this is awesome. Now I want to share this with a friend of mine. Okay, so in pandas in notebook, in Jupyter notebook, you can export it to, so here if you go to file download as notebook, you can export it as an HTML. So when you export it as an HTML, let's see what's gonna happen. So that dumped the output into HTML file, and if I open the HTML file, you will see this is how it looks. So you can see that this is an HTML file. So I can give this HTML file to anyone who wants to learn it. Okay. You can also output your Jupyter notebook as a Python file. So for example, you have a bunch of Python code here and you want to output it in Python file, then you will just use download as Python command here. And when you open this particular file into Notepad, this is how it's looking. So it has all this Python code, so you can run this py file as it is. All right, let's go back to our notebook. It has a bunch of other formats where you can output it as a PDF and MD and so on. If you want to look at some of the interesting Jupyter notebooks that other people have built, then just go to Google and type in Jupyter notebook gallery, and it will show you a couple of links here. So if I click on the first one, I will see some of the interesting notebooks. So for example, this one is on data analysis. It's showing the HTML page, but you can see he's doing various things with pandas and some other data science libraries. Okay, you can also look at some of the notebooks for the neural networks. So here is explaining what is neural network. This one, yeah, and it has some code as well. Okay, so just explore all these different notebooks. And yeah, I forgot to mention that the format for the notebook is IPYNB. So IPYNB is your basically IPython notebook. So whenever you see any file which has this extension IPYNB, it is basically your Jupyter notebook. Okay, so that was all about Jupyter tutorial. There are many other interesting features, but we are not able to cover them in this video. But at least I hope that this tutorial will get you started and you will be able to build the notebooks on your own. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, share, and comment below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in next